Yo, what's going on, everyone? We added again. So what we're doing today is we are installing a receptacle for a forklift charger. So customer bought a forklift charger and they say, hey, can you hook it up? I'm like, of course. So I take a look at the forklift charger and it's a multi-tap transformer inside of it. So it uses 208, 240, or 480. Now I would have loved to use the 480 panel, but the customer, they needed this up and going like today. So I had to use their 208 panel. On the 480, the equipment I needed, it was not in stock. It was a Friday and they wouldn't have it till Monday. The customer was like, hey, fine, put it on the other panel. Will it work today? I said, yes, I'll get it working today. So hence we are in the 208 panel. And so this forklift charger requires a 208, 2 hots and a ground. I know a lot of 208s are 2 hots, a neutral, and a ground, but in this application, it's just a 2 hots and a ground. So what we're doing here now, we're just drilling a pilot hole and we're going to end up getting a 1/2 inch knockout into the side of the panel. I don't have my speedy bit, so it took me a little bit longer than normal. I didn't have all my right tools with me. It was a rough day today. So just have pilot hole, step bit, and then a unit bit to get it out to the proper size so we can put our EMT conduit in there. Always recommendation when you're cutting inside of steel, always use some cutting oil or some kind of lubricant. It saves your bits, keeps them sharper longer, lasts longer, because I don't know about you, I don't like spending money on tools if I don't need to. So that's what we're just doing here. This is a live panel, so you always be safe when you're working on panels, but high recommendation if you're a homeowner or you have a little industrial complex yourself, I recommend you hire an electrician to work in panels such as these, like the 208s and the 480s. It is very dangerous, and I do not recommend that someone without electrical experience work on them. But here we go. Once we got the hole in, bent the piece of EMT, 90 kick and a box offset. And the funny thing was, I thought this wall was concrete, like a lot of walls are in the panel, but they just happened to paint it, but it was drywall. So and I actually drove across town to get my rotor hammer and didn't even need it. So we're actually just putting our box in because this is where we're going to put our receptacle. I know a lot of people are going to be like, hey, just hardwire it. It's easier. It is easier, but just in the case that this customer ever decides to leave this industrial building for any other reason, instead of having an electrician say, hey, can you come disconnect? I need to take this charger with me. They could just unplug it and take it with them. I think that's more convenient. Instead of having someone come out, disconnect it, billing them, then going to a new place, reconnect it, and billing them again. So after we get the box in, we push in our number 10s, our ground, black and red. And this forklift charger, it was 23 amps, 24, something like that. So yeah, we got a 2-pole 30 amp breaker in there. And this is our, I forgot the designation of this receptacle, but it is rated for this 208 volt. And we have another industrial raised cover, and our leads we will hook up next. Of course, we always go in sequence, and sorry, these are not the right gloves. I didn't have my hot work gloves, but of course I'm always going to do everything safe as should. And of course, always go in sequence when you're hooking up live electricity, starting with your ground, then your hots. The breaker is off, so once I hook them up, power won't just be running directly. So you always just make sure your P's and Q's when doing certain things like this. And this is a pretty full panel. It's a lot going on here, even though it's a smaller warehouse. I know most of these things in this panel would not be used, but yeah, you always get what you need on those original wires. You just cap them off because they're in a J box. So in case someone needs them later, there's basically some spare wires there to be utilized with. Now just putting a dead front back on. If you don't know why they call it a dead front is in case there's ever like an arc or an explosion inside of an electrical panel and someone's in front of it, that dead front will contain the blast and won't come out at you. It'll basically blocks it. So we got our dead front and then our panel cover. Typically, there's never any issues with these type of panels. I've never seen one faulty, one go out, but always do safety first. Now we're over at the forklift charger. This individual, they bought it used. So I could tell whoever had it last, they had it hardwired because that was a 2-screw connector. So they had it hardwired instead of a J box, which is nothing wrong with that. But like I said, I want to make it convenient for my customers and their future. So just a cord cap. Our cord cap and our receptacle always needs to match. I had to go back to the store because my supplier accidentally gave me a 20 amp cord cap, but the receptacle was 30 amp, so it didn't fit. So you always got to double check. But gladly, electrical is to where if it doesn't match, it will not fit. Good rule of thumb, if it doesn't fit, it's not right. Nothing should ever be forced when it comes to electrical and its parts. So cord caps have always been a pain for me. They're a pain in the butt to get in. There's not a lot of room down there to play with, but at least it was number 10. Stranded wire in there, the SO cord, so not too bad. But we ended up hooking up this cord cap and we ended up plugging it in. Customer was talking to me around this time, so I didn't end up getting a final picture of the outlet and everything plugged in and a display and a charger up and going, but it does work and it works perfectly fine. Even the forklift started charging. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and we'll see you again for the next adventure. Be safe out there, y'all.